Hello, everyone. We've got a really nice presentation here for you today. Secrets of Media Giants, Unifying Digital Content Operations. We're going to take you through 3 different case studies, right? 3 of my favorite case studies here, Brightspot, NPR, the LA Times, and NBC Sports. We're going to take you through their digital transformation journey and tell you about some of the challenges they were facing and some of the things that we were able to do, how we were able to partner with these teams to really help streamline their content curation framework. So, going to the next slide. There we go. So, whoops, back one. Okay. So, who are we? So, I'm Weston Beard. I'm the Senior Director of Solutions Engineering here at Brightspot.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ben London. I'm a Director of Customer Engagements. I manage some of the larger accounts at Brightspot. Hope everyone's having a great show this week. As Weston said, we're excited to be here and talk to you about our company and our product platform called Brightspot. We'll share some challenges we're seeing brands having navigating the digital content ecosystem, and we'll share a few customer success stories on how Brightspot has helped some major media brands accomplish their digital transformation goals.
Okay, so a little bit about us. So Brightspot is a fast and flexible content management platform that allows content creators to create unique experiences and reach their audience where their audience is in their digital journey or in their user journey and at the exact location where their users create content. Here at Brightspot, we have the entire package of what you need to support your content business, from creative services, so that's visual designers, UX specialists who can work with you and your brand identity to help get that translated to your digital presence, to professional services, which you'll hear us talk about throughout this presentation. We really, truly like to partner with our customers and walk hand in hand with them throughout their entire digital transformation journey, as well as managed services. So managing things like hosting, operations, all of the headaches that you don't want your content teams to focus on. We have a very, very white glove managed services arm so that your content teams can focus on creating great content and not on the uptime of your website or web app.
Cool. So this is a partial customer list of Brightspots. We've been in business for 16 years now. And one of the guiding principles that we have at the company is that we think of our customers as partners, and we strive to live in their shoes every day to make our platform work for their business and not the other way around. So 3 quick things I want to highlight about that. Number 1 is once customers come to Brightspot, they stay. We have a very low customer churn, and many of the brands on the screen have been with us since the early days. Johnson & Johnson, Univision, Politico have been some of our longer-standing customers. Second, because our platform is highly flexible and configurable, we're able to provide solutions for a wide number of use cases, as you can see by the many different application categories our customers fall into. And finally, we are supporting customers all over the world and have localization and translation capabilities natively built into the platform to make Brightspot a great fit for international businesses as well.
Okay, so we're here today to talk about the digital transformation journey of 3 different companies and to take you through a few case studies. Before we get into that, we want to talk a little bit about the evolution of, the evolution of content consumption over the years, right? So in the 90s, people primarily ingested their content through TV or through printed content, right? Newspapers, magazines. In the early 2000s, that changed. We had the advent of laptops, the advent of the iPhone, and so content curators really had to change their mindset and focus on that mobile-first content delivery. And nowadays, there's a plethora of different apps or devices that people receive or people ingest content on, and companies are now forced to maintain an almost impossible output of content to keep up with the expectations of their consumers, especially when you consider things like segmentation, delivery of content, having different and unique workflows for that content, right? So that sort of impossible to contain output really puts a lot of overbearance or a lot of responsibility on content creators. So just a quick show of hands in the audience here. How many of you are struggling to deliver world-class content experiences for your customers? Right? So you are not alone. In a Forrester Commission study, professionals in IT, in marketing, as well as product development were asked about their challenges, what their primary issues are in managing content today. 43% said they had challenges in scaling their digital content. 41% said their content needs are expanding faster than their capabilities to keep up with. But here's the stat that really, surprised me. 0% said they didn't face any challenges in producing content. So everyone polled said they had at least one or more challenges in creating good, enduring, engaging content. 3 out of 4 organizations in the same study said that they are either considering replatforming or bringing on a new CMS or in the process of that, right? So again, this just goes to show that everyone does have issues in creating and delivering those world-class experiences.
All right. So what are the key ingredients for your content platform? From our years of experience creating enterprise solutions for our customers, there are a few givens that we've come to expect. Number one is that no two customers have the same set of requirements. There's such a wide range of capabilities in the digital ecosystem that customers may or may not need depending on their business. Some need advanced video capabilities. Some have vast databases of product information that they need to organize and make discoverable. Some rely heavily on lead generation or email marketing. And some have walled off content that require user accounts or subscriptions in order to access that content. Paired with that is that each customer will have their own mix of vendors that they're either already working with or prefer to work with to deliver on some of these capabilities. So within each puzzle piece on the screen here, there are any number of companies that are out there providing these capabilities and these services. Many of them are here at NAB this week. But it's not realistic or feasible to think that any one platform can do it all. So at BrightSpot, we've taken we call it a sit in the center approach, where in this landscape, we make sure that BrightSpot has all the table stakes capabilities that our customers depend on to power their day-to-day content experience. At its core, BrightSpot is a robust content management system with advanced authoring capabilities. It delivers the end user experience through either a full stack solution where BrightSpot is also rendering the front end presentation, or through headless solutions where BrightSpot is providing the data and the APIs to the customer who owns the front end application. We also make sure that BrightSpot can be run and managed on any number of cloud infrastructure providers. And finally, we make sure BrightSpot has all the built-in security, accessibility, privacy compliance measures built into the platform, as that's becoming increasingly important to all businesses. And then from there, we make sure BrightSpot is an integration-friendly platform, and we have a number of existing plugins and APIs to make integrating with some of these third-party specialists either a no-code or a low-code effort.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these success stories. We're going to go through the LA Times first. I'm going to kick it off to Ben, who led the NBC Sports project. Oh, did I say LA Times? Excuse me. LA Times. I'll start with the LA Times. I'll kick it off to Ben for NBC Sports. Thanks, Ben. And then we're going to get into NPR. Okay. So let's chat a little bit about the LA Times. So in 2018, they were acquired, and they were given a 1-year mandate. They had 1 year to examine all of their different content platforms and all third-party vendors at the entire organization to not only do that discovery of what was needed, what systems they had, but they had 1 year to implement and get off of or combine those systems, right? They needed a true digital-first newsroom and a unified approach to content management, which they didn't have. They had 19-plus legacy systems, including 3 CMSs and 3 digital asset managers. right? So different teams among their 12 news desks publish content differently with different workflows and different systems, right? So you can imagine how confusing this was and how cost ineffective it was. So in came Brightspot. So we brought all of the California Times, the LA Times family of newspapers together onto one platform. So 21 digital properties in total, 19 legacy systems removed, right? Including unifying those 3 CMSs and 3 digital asset managers into Brightspot. We gave them a centralized content syndication engine. So their editors create content in Brightspot. They expedite distribution to their physical printing presses by clicking a button within Brightspot. They distribute it to Apple News, to their mobile apps, to YouTube, to subscriber newsletters, all from within Brightspot. They handle push notifications, breaking news emails, Apple News syndication. I could go on and on and on. And that's just for getting data out. In terms of getting data in, we actually created a number of mechanisms to where they can import data from other third-party sources. So we are truly the central syndication engine of the LA Times, and they can do everything right from their instance of Brightspot. And the unique value that we brought. So launched in 2020, Brightspot's content ideation tool, or content planning tool called Assignment Desk, we enabled for the LA Times. So they actually plan out not just their editorial content, but also their business teams use Assignment Desk to promote and plan out monetization strategies months ahead of time before that content is produced, all from the same system and the same CMS. So that's a little bit about the LA Times. Ben, I'm going to kick it off to you for NBC Sports.
Cool. So you want to go to the next slide? NBC Sports is one of my accounts that I've been working with for a number of years. Our most recent project was this epic mission we partnered with them on to consolidate 3 of their flagship sports properties into a redesigned single-site architecture on Brightspot. Excuse me. So, NBCSports.com, GolfChannel.com, and NBC Sports Edge or RotoWorld.com, which is their fantasy news site. They were all on a mixed bag of Drupal and WordPress CMSs. They were becoming increasingly challenging and expensive for NBC Sports to maintain. Each site had their own set of unique custom features and functionalities, and all 3 were looking pretty dated looking, as you can see from these legacy screenshots. So that was kind of the challenge we were facing in terms of replatforming them into a new unified experience on Brightspot. And so from a solution perspective, we kicked off and went live with this project in under a year. It took us 11 months. Here are some of the screenshots of the new unified redesigned experience. And I'll highlight some of the key solution details on the next slide. Okay. From a core architecture perspective, this project was a complete rebuild on Brightspot. It involved the migration of 5 million plus assets from those legacy Drupal and WordPress systems. We implemented an entirely new front-end design provided by NBC's creative agency. So as Weston mentioned earlier, at Brightspot, we have our own design creative team and department, but we also, just as easily can work with third-party creative agencies to implement their designs into the platform. But the most complex part of this project was supporting the live scoring and statistics functionality for 7 professional sports leagues. So the 4 major ones, NBA, NHL, MLB, and NFL, college basketball and football, and the Premier League. Any given day, there's 20 to 50 live games going on that we are providing live scores and stats for. So that required a ton of custom modeling and real-time data processing to deliver those scores for the 7 professional sports leagues. Another one of their more unique features was creating a custom editing experience for NBC's fantasy news team. So on a 24/7 basis, NBC has freelancers all over the country publishing high volume, short form news blurbs, where speed to market is key. And so it's not traditional article publishing. We had to create a custom editing UI inside the CMS to make that as easy as possible for their news team. And finally, from a business and monetization perspective, In addition to the more standard video and display advertising products, we also implemented the ability to purchase and access NBC's content subscriptions to their exclusive fantasy draft guides, which is a whole purchase kind of e-commerce component to the site that helps fantasy nerds all over the world have an edge over their competitors with access to this premium sports, draft guide content from NBC. So, bit of a, those are a few highlights, bit of a kitchen sink from a features and functionality perspective, but came out great. We're really excited that this is out in the wild now, and we're going to continue innovating over the years. So I think we're going to wrap it up with NPR and back to Wes.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, so this is one of my favorite case studies that we've done at BrightSpot. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So some of the key problems that we were looking at with NPR, right? NPR has over, I think 1,000 different member stations that were all using different systems, different publishing platforms. They weren't really talking together. Again, sort of a similar case study to the LA Times in that their content curators were very siloed. Again, they had that patchwork of different publishing platforms, right? Between NPR's in-house CMS, various other CMSs. They needed that scalable, dynamic solution to offer its member stations. As well, they wanted a more templatized or more uniform brand identity amongst all of their different member stations. So let's talk about the solution that we were able to come up with them. So we were able to take 235 member stations as of today and bring them all within one instance of BrightSpot. So at the outset, we wanted to give them, again, that brand identity to where all of those NPR member stations can maintain their different color palettes and logos and text, but they all, again, share that unique and very similar brand identity with each other in a very templatized format. Audio is key in the first phase, in the first couple phases of this implementation. So we had a number of different solutions that we were able to dev out with them, starting with a persistent player. So if you go to any one of the 235 NPR member stations we support, you can listen to podcasts or news bits right from within the site. And as you're clicking around, that player is consistent and is playing you the story, the podcast, the audio that you're listening to. On-demand audio, we allowed you to curate these playlists of the content that you wanted to listen to so that you could like, favorite, and be able to play that audio on demand. We added audio enhancements. So when users are actually reading those stories, we added an optional module or modal so that the user can actually just listen to that story instead if they wanted to, or listen to it in combination with reading the story. And lastly, again, we allowed for audio content, the ability to take that audio content and actually send it to the Apple Podcast app so that users can listen to their podcast right from that app. So that process is automated completely, right? So we have 235 member stations now on one instance of BrightSpot. My favorite part about all of that, my favorite feature with this case study, they can all syndicate content to and from each other, including with NPR.org. So any member station can, with a combination of business logic or manual pushes and pulls, be able to subscribe to content, see what else is in that NPR ecosystem, and then do things like create dynamic modules on pages to where if NPR.org or any other member station publishes, as an example, a story that deals with national politics, they can set business logic. So based on the tags of that content, it will just appear dynamically in a certain module on a certain page. Right? So that entire syndication amongst anything in the NPR ecosystem, again, I think is really, really phenomenal use case and has really helped them increase engagement and monetization. Yep. There we go. So these are some of the logos with some of the 235 member stations that I mentioned. So thank you so much for listening to us here today. If you have any questions, please feel free to come up to us afterwards or visit us in our booth. We're just about 100 yards away in 365-7. So thanks so much. And I think I want to end with this one note. And Ben, I want to hear kind of your thoughts on this, but I think all the case studies we talked about today, they all have sort of similar themes of disparate systems that weren't talking to each other. Teams that were using different systems, they didn't know what each other was working on. They were stepping on each other's toes. We were able to come in and really partner with those teams and hold their hand throughout their entire digital transformation journey, to help them, again, have a more consistent and coherent workflow from the ideation of content through all the way to distribution to any different channel that these customers use.
Yeah. I think my final thought is just like, it really is a two-part equation to having a great content experience. You need a great product and a great platform, which we think BrightSpot is, but you also need a team that's completely invested in helping their customers achieve their goals and tailor their product to what they need to make work for them. And at BrightSpot, our high touch services are equally as important to the strength of our platform and our products. So I think it is the sum of those two parts that are the recipe for success. So again, thank you everyone for your time, and look forward to any follow-ups you might have after the session. Thanks so much.